everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are doing April's TBR to be rolled. So this month in April, we have a couple readathons going on. We will talk about that in all of my plans for the month. But the first thing that we need to do is talk about how badly I failed in March. So, in previous iterations of this game, I was only rolling the ball 5 times. This year in 2024, we now have a D12 telling us exactly how many times we're gonna roll, and we rolled a 12, plus we had some triple colors, which means we added rolls on. So I had 14 books on my TBR for March. I then also had a trip to Legoland with the kids and the husband, and when we came back, everybody was sick. Kids had ear infections, we had pink eye, I had strep, which I haven't had since like high school. So we were sick, terribly sick. We eventually got over that, and then it was time for the trans rights readathon, which I'm still doing right now. We have a couple days left. And so by that time, my TBR just sort of went out the window. So I did not do very well in the month of March. We rolled 14 times. Let's get into it. Roll number 1 was red, which means Presley got to pick a book. He picked Into the Heartless Wood. I did not read this one. The next card was green, which was to pick a book over 500 pages. I picked the Tommyknockers. I even had a manga as a backup. I did not read either of them. Then we had an orange, which is a TBR box pick. It ended up being one of the books in the Sleeping Giants series. I was going to read book 1. I didn't do it. The next roll was for a green, which was to read an adaptation and then watch the adaptation. I picked The Cabin at the End of the World. I didn't do it. The next one was blue for a poll pick. You guys had to pick a reread for me. You voted on The Raven Boys. I still have the audiobook of this saved from my library, but I didn't do it yet. Then the next one was red, which means Elliot got to pick a book. I had her pick from my 12 and 12 list, and she picked Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor. I did read this one. Then my next one was a yellow, which was to pick an ebook. I picked Felix Ever After. I am 91% of the way through this one. I will be finishing it today. The next one was purple, which was to pick a Star Trek book. I picked The Idic Epidemic. I did not read this one. Then we had another purple, which was to read a book for the buzzword prompt. The buzzword prompt was to read a book with a character name in the title. Zachary Ying could have worked except for the fact that we already had this prompt. I originally picked Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert, but I actually went with Osgood as She Gets by Cooper Beckett. I will talk about this in my wrap up, but it was actually an arc that I had from this author that I completely forgot about talking about in my TBR, but I read it, so that is done. The next one was green, which was to read a book that was the first in a series. I picked The Name Bearer by Natalia Hernandez, which is my Patreon book club pick for March. I did not read it yet. We still have some time in the month. I'm hoping to get to it. If not, it'll be one of my first reads in April. Then we had a red, which means my sister Riley had to pick a book. She picked Somewhere Only We Know, and I did not read this one. Then we had another red, which means my Patreon got to pick a book. I had a few different suggestions. I went with Those Beyond the Wall by Micaiah Johnson. I did read and DNF this one. That does count for my game though. Then we had blue, which meant you guys got to vote on a book that my husband picked, and you voted on Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. I did not read this. And finally, the last one was orange, which was a book picked out of the TBR box, and it was for The Coven's Secret. I did not read this either. So I only read, what, 4 things out of my entire TBR for March. However, that's not all that I read. I actually read 11 things in the month. Now, 4 of them do match what was on the TBR, but one thing that I'm doing for myself this year is saving $1 for every book read, which for this month would be 11. But I'm also saving an extra $1 for every book that is supposed to be on my TBR that I do not read. So if we take 4 of those books that I did read, because they were part of the 11, away from the 14, I have 10 more, which means 11 books read in the month, and 10 books from my TBR that I did not read, I'm saving $21 more to put in my book pot. So I do have that here, book pot, $21. I'm putting that in here, and I think we're now at $54 saved for the entire year so far, and we're only 3 months in. So ultimately, great for saving money. Not so great that I didn't read all the books from my TBR, but like I said, we had extenuating circumstances. Now, let's get into the readathons that we are doing for the month of April. So the first one that we have is the Autism Acceptance Readathon. I am co-hosting this along with MJ from MJ James Writes and Ren from the Reading Ren. I did have an announcement video like the last one 2 times ago. I'll leave a link down below for you in case you want to check that out. But it is a readathon happening through the entire month of April, and we only have 4 actual prompts. One of them is to read a nonfiction book about autism. One of them is to read an intersectional autism book. So this is something where the author is autistic as well as a person of color, or as well as having a disability, or as well as being queer. Multiple different diversity things there. We also have to read a host recommendation. I'm actually planning on picking one from Ren as well as one from MJ and trying to do both in the month. I would like to read The Book Eaters by Sun Yi Dean. This actually is an Illumicrate edition of a book, and I've had this for a while and I've really been wanting to read it. But this was one of MJ's recs, and since I already owned it, I definitely want to try this out. This does have a main character who I believe is autistic, is also a mother. MJ said it's very gothic, not quite horror, but a little bit going there. And I just really love the idea of this. The back says, once there was a mother who fed on stories and would do anything to survive. Like, I really want to see what this is about. And it was MJ's pick. And then Ren's pick that I'm picking is the only Ren pick that I have not read already. And it's the remaking of Corbin Whale by Roan Parrish. I have read a different Roan Parrish a couple years ago, like during the Christmas holiday season, that I actually really did enjoy, and so I want to try this one. It is only a couple hundred pages, I want to say, so on the shorter side, and from my understanding it's going to be a male-male romance looking into like rebuilding one of the characters' lives after a breakup and things like that, and it's supposed to be really heartwarming, and so I'm into it. So I want to pick both of those. And then we also had one to read an indie Own Voices autism book. So I do have some authors and stuff that I want to read that are indie. I'm hoping we get some rolls of the die here that will let me pick some things for this. Some stuff I already have on my TBR, I already have picked out. Other things I don't, and I'm okay with not having my entire TBR for this picked out right away, because sometimes, as we've seen in the last couple months, I do like to mood read. And then the other readathon we have for April is the Magical Readathon, which is hosted by G from Book Roast. I've been doing this every year for I don't even know how long now. I am planning on sticking with the calling that I did last year, which was the Star Whisperer one. We have 5 classes / 5 prompts that we have to do in April. So I'm doing the Art of Illusion, which is to read a book with game or play in the title. Astronomy, which is a zodiac rec. Now, I was researching this one, and I'm a Capricorn. I hate that so many people like to rec Capricorn's business books or nonfiction books. I don't read those things, so I was having a hard time with this. I have come down to 2 different things that I'm potentially going to pick depending on how this game goes. One is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This was suggested for Capricorns by Bibliocommons. And then I also just decided to go and see what other authors have a Capricorn birthday who are also Capricorns. J.R.R. Tolkien is one, like Lord of the Rings. I could have read that. I don't think I'm going to because I've already read it. But I also have Lin-Manuel Miranda is a Capricorn, and he has that book that's like Good Day, Good Night. It's like a very, very short sort of like positive affirmations or something. It was very popular when that first came out because I was working in a bookstore when it came out, and I remember it being super popular. That could be my other one. A book that is also by an author who has a Capricorn. Then we have Inscription, which is to suggest 3 titles, write them down, fold up the paper, and then pick out of those 3. I feel like that's going to be a very easy one to do. We'll have to do that by the end of the video. We have Lore, which is to reread The Legend of Dia. I don't remember if there's anything else that technically goes with this one. I'll have to double check that. but I do remember in the announcement video, like, it was something about rereading that and then we would know more. I don't know if we do know more yet. And then we have psionics and divination, which is to do a prediction bingo. So this would be a book, hopefully a book that we roll, and I would just have to make like a prediction bingo board and try and complete it while I read that book, which I think is fun because I've never personally done that. So those, I feel like, are, knock on wood, pretty easy to do. So we have 5 prompts for the magical readathon, and we have 4 prompts for the autism acceptance readathon. I also have some required reading things that I need to get through. So in the month of April, I'm also participating in the Hitchhiker's Read Along. We are going to be on book 4, which is called So Long and Thanks for All the Fish by Douglas Adams. So that is something I need to complete in April as well. My Patreon book club is going to be reading Minimum Wage Magic by Rachel Aaron. This is going to be like an urban fantasy with dragons sort of thing. I'm definitely excited about that. I need to pick a 12 in 12 book, which I don't know what I'm going to pick for that either. We're going to try and see if I get roles that fit with that. And then we have the buzzword, which is to read a book with nature words. Oh, I should also mention I did not read Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings, which is an arc that I wanted to read this month in March. It's coming out halfway through April, so I would also like to move that into April. Read it near the first 2 weeks of the month as well. So I have an arc, a book club, a read along, and then buzzword and things like that. So we're trying to fit those in as well. Now, I feel like we've gone over the rules and stuff like this quite often, but let's give a quick rundown. If you want the extensive rules, I will leave January's newest video linked down below. But we have my die with all the different colors. They're all going to relate to a different way of picking my TBR. Red is going to be somebody else picks my TBR. Orange is a TBR box. Yellow are prompts related to like age grouping of book, genre of book, format of book. Green are challenge prompts. These are some of my favorite, although we don't get them very often. Blue is a poll pick where you guys get to specifically pick what book I read. And purple is required reading, things like arcs and book clubs and things like that. So we're going to be rolling this and figuring out my TBR. Now, like I mentioned before, I do have a D12 that we're going to roll first and figure out how many rolls I'm going to roll. My minimum is 5, so if I roll anything less than a 5 on the D12, we're going to add it to 5. So if I roll a 1, it's actually a 6, a 2 is a 7, etc. And if I roll this ball, this die, my son calls it a ball, and get the same color 3 times, so blue comes up 3 times, I'm adding a roll to it. I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that we're not getting another 12 on the D12, because it did not help that I had so many things to read this month and then so much shit happened. So I think that's all the housekeeping. All the stuff that I was supposed to read and didn't. All the things that I'm planning on reading. Yeah, let's go roll that D12. Okay, so here's our D12. The wolf guy is the 12. Crossing my fingers. A 2. Okay, so 5 plus 2 is 7. Who's gonna roll first?
Me.
Okay, so we're doing roll number 1. Okay, roll that way.
I think it's gonna roll the color red.
Oh, it is red. Good job.
It's my favorite color.
I know. Okay, so roll number 1 is red, which means we're gonna pick a card to tell us who gets to pick my book. Okay?
What does red have?
Red has people. Let's see. Going.
It says Presley.
It does say Presley. That means you get to pick a book for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was quick. He's been getting quicker at this. He picked The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. The reason it was quick is it's in a little pile of green books because I did like a St. Patrick's Day post. But it is on my TBR and it has been for a while. I've heard really good things about this because it is YA. But it's like a princess runs away from a betrothal and 2 guys are chasing after her. One I think is like an assassin and one is the prince. But from what I understand, the way it's written, we don't know which guy is which. And so I'm very, very curious about this one.
Orange can land on orange.
Roll number 2. I don't know, we might not. Okay, let's try.
Oh, no.
It's red again. Roll number 2 is another red, so we're gonna pick another one. Okay, more cards. Going for the back part of it. Ooh, okay. And it says hubby.
Hubby.
That means daddy, Leon, needs to pick a book for me. He's actually upstairs working, so we'll grab him in a little bit and insert a clip here. Okay, so Leon decided to go through a stack of books that I had that are like things I really want to read in April, and so the book that he picked is The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean. This is MJ's rec for the Autism Acceptance Readathon, so I definitely wanted to get it in, and so I'm grateful that we have this. Roll number 3. That way.
I think it's turning on. Oh, green.
Green. Number 3 is green. These are the challenge prompts that I absolutely love, so let's see what we get. Okay, here's our green cards. He's going for the top, which says standalone.
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 Yes, this is a book that's not part of a series. And for this one, I'm gonna go with The Remaking of Corbin Whale by Roan Parrish. This is part of the Autism Acceptance Readathon, specifically in the prompt with a host rec. This was Ren's pick, and according to Goodreads, it looks like it is a standalone, so that's the one we're going with. Roll number 4.
You do it.
Oh, mommy's turn? Okay.
Roll yellow.
You want me to try and roll red yellow? We'll see, let's go.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh,
Purple.
can you show the camera for me?
It's purple.
It's purple. Okay, roll number 4 is purple. So this is for required reading. We're still gonna pick a card to tell us what category, but I'm hoping to get some things that I really need to read on this TBR. Ready? Purple. From the top, read along.
Read along.
Yeah. So for this one, we're going with So Long and Thanks for All the Fish by Douglas Adams. This is the 4th book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, and so far the only read-along that I'm currently doing, but I definitely need to do it because we have our live show at the end of every single month. Like, book 3s is going to be on my channel the day this goes live, I think, actually. So yeah, I need to read the 4th book. Ready? Roll number 5. This way. There you go. Roll.
Oh, red.
That's our 3rd red, which means we have to add a roll. For roll number 5, we have red. Presley is done picking cards. We've made it halfway through now because technically this is our 3rd red. We have to add another roll on, but that means I will be picking out the cards, at least for now. He might change his mind again like last time. Who knows? Let's see. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And I'm just gonna go somewhere in the middle. This is for who is picking a book for me. And it's Leon again. He's gonna love that. And then on Leon's 2nd choice, he decided to go through a stack of books that I had over by my TBR, which ended up being the books that I didn't get to last month. So he picked The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This is something I really did want to read in March and did not get to because it is the one that has an adaptation. It has a movie that's directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and yeah, this is the one where like a family goes to a cabin in the woods and some people show up and tell them that they're doing something with the end of the world. I don't know if it's like a cause or save or what, but we have this. Okay, roll number 6. This way.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh.
Yes, it's yellow.
It is yellow. Okay, roll number 6 is yellow. This is another type of card that I do actually like. It talks about age groups of book, genre of book, format of book. Let's do it. Again, I have the yellow cards here. We're gonna shuffle, shuffle, shuffle a little bit, and then just sort of spread them out. And I think I'm gonna pick from the middle, but more close to the end of the stack. Audio. That's actually great because I have been listening to audiobooks when I take Presley to school and things. I don't know what one I'm going to listen to. Let me see. Do I have anything currently saved through my library that I'm gonna need to read? Okay, so you know what? Technically, I did save and borrowed, I should say, Good Morning and Good Night from Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's only like 46 minutes. It's gonna be very, very easy to do. But I saved it as an audio because they had it here. They didn't have an ebook version or anything. I know it also does have some illustrations, but I'm thinking I might not miss that. So that's what we're gonna go with because I need something for the Magical Readathon that is based on my zodiac sign, and he's also a Capricorn. Okay, roll number 7. Do this way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Green.
green again. Number 7 is another green, so more challenge cards. I already shuffled these and I literally do not know what is in here in what order, so I'm just gonna spread them out and we're gonna again pick sort of from in the middle. Trying not to look, but they're sort of stuck together. Here's one. Okay, unhaul. So this means I need to pick something that I have been considering unhauling. And I think based on the sort of prompt that this is and the way that I've been doing my TBR, with this prompt here, I either need to read this book or DNF this book in this month, or I need to get rid of it. Like if I don't read it, the fact that I'm picking it because I think I'm gonna unhaul it, that's what I need to do. Yeah, okay, unhaul. Okay, so what I think I'm actually gonna do is make this into a Magical Readathon prompt. Because one of the ones that we have to do is take 3 books, write their names down on a piece of paper, and randomly pick one. So I do have a stack of things that are potential unhauls that have been that way for a little while now. Like, been in a stack for over a year because they were maybes at a different unhaul, and it's just been forever. So I have 3 books. I'm gonna talk to you about them right now, and then I'm gonna write their names down on a piece of paper and we're gonna pick one. But the first one I have here is Loki, Where Mischief Lies by Mackenzie Lee. Mackenzie Lee had some controversy surrounding her in like 2020. And because of that, I've been a little bit iffy on the books that I already own from this author. I absolutely loved A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. And this one is Marvel. And I know it's supposed to be like a non-binary sort of Loki or gender fluid sort of Loki character. But I don't know if I'm 100% sold on these Marvel books or this author specifically, but I've owned this for a while, so it is in the list. The next one I have here is Trailer Park Fae by Lilith St. Crow. I have read some other things by Lilith St. Crow. I think she goes by Lily St. Crow and a different spelling of St. Crow, like st.crow, for YA. And it was a series that I was really, really enjoying, but then it took a turn to where I hated it. And then I think I tried a gas lamp fantasy steampunk sort of one by this author, and I do not do well with that sort of genre. So I am hit or miss now with this author, and I've had this one for a while. I absolutely love the cover though, like absolutely love. And this is supposed to be a dark fantasy where the fairy world inhabits diners, dive bars, and trailer parks. And it's blurbed by Chuck Wendig and Shauna McGuire. Like, ultimately, I should want to read this, and I definitely want to try, so that's why it was in the maybe pile. I'm just not too sure if I actually like the author or not. And then I also have The 1000th Floor by Kara McGee. So now, I had both this one and, what is it, American Royals on my potential unhaul thing a couple years ago, and I read American Royals as part of a vlog project where I was trying to read the books that I wanted to unhaul, and as soon as I was not like 100% into the book, I unhauled it. But I ended up reading that one and loving it and giving it 5 stars. So it's the same author. It's a slightly different sort of setting. Like, it's not a reimagined America where George Washington actually was king instead of president. This one is more like a really, really high skyscraper, and each floor is like based on money and caste and things like that. The higher you are, the farther you fall. I mean, it's a gorgeous looking book. Like, I like the gold on the inside. I don't know. It's been on my like potential unhaul for a while. So yeah, these are all books that I'm not 100% sure I want to keep or read, but I also am not 100% sure I want to unhaul. So what I'm gonna do, like I said, write these on paper and we're gonna pick one. I wrote them on Post-it notes because I could easily seal it up, and I'm going to literally mix it, mix it, mix it. I'm trying not to think about anything at all. I'm gonna drop them on the floor too. I don't know. I don't know where anything is now, but the one I pick is going to be the one for the unhaul and for the magical readathon. We're going to go for the middle. Okay. The one that I'm supposed to read is The 1000th Floor by Kara McGee.
It's gonna be number 8.
It is number 8. Number 8. Red again. And then finally, roll number 8 is red, but this is our 4th red. We don't have to worry about more rolls, but we have another red card. I think I have like 3 cards per like person who could pick my book, so technically I am curious. It might be another Leon picks my book, but okay, let's see. Gonna go again somewhere in the middle. Oh, viewer. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the comments section of my TBR video. I need to update that with my current TBR, but I'm gonna pick a book from one of the comments on that video. Okay, I have the comments from the physical TBR video, and we're gonna see what we have here for the winner. Okay, it's a book that I unhauled, so we are going to try again. Ooh, okay, so I have a comment that has 3 different books: The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and The Charm Offensive by Allison Cochran. I've already read The Charm Offensive, 100% loved it, 5 out of 5 stars. So it looks like we have either The Final Empire or The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Let me see if any of them fit my TBR thing that I need to do. Probably for the magical readathon. I don't think either of these fit for the autism acceptance one, and we'll see. Okay, so no, I don't think anything actually fits for the magical readathon prompt unless I decide to do the prediction bingo on this one, which I might do. I'm gonna go with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab because I have read more things by V.E. Schwab and had more things that I've liked by V.E. Schwab. I do want to read The Final Empire, but it also just sort of sounds more intimidating than this one for some reason, so that's what we're gonna go with. It's about a girl who nobody remembers, and I think she's been around for like a long time, like she's immortal sort of thing. Yeah, so that is everything for the TBR. Obviously, at my point in time, I don't know what my husband is going to be picking, and he has to pick 2 things for me, so those are going to be surprises. But otherwise, we have the audiobook by Lin-Manuel Miranda, we have the ebook, which is the remaking of Corbin Whale by Roan Parrish, and then we have 4 physical books. Actually, I've been listening to the Douglas Adams things on audio, so I'll probably read that on audio as well. But then we have The Kiss of Deception, The 1000th Floor, and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. They're all a very dark color scheme. And so that is going to be it for today. I will have some vlogging and stuff with other books probably for the readathons throughout the month. You guys will see them on my channel. But yeah, I'm going to be doing those readathons. I obviously did not pick everything today. I do still want to fit in the Book Eaters. I also really want to read Act Your Age Eve Brown. And I think for the other magical readathon prompt, the game or play, I have actually a lot of books that have game or play. I'm leaning towards Game On by Cerestia Glass because I got that recently. And then the buzzword, I think I might go with Late Bloomer, which is my arc because of the fact that bloom is part of it, and I do feel like that's a nature word. Flowers bloom. I'm gonna go with that, I think. So I think that has covered everything. So yeah, even though I have 8 rolls today, I still have other books that I definitely want to fit on here that I just didn't. I think that happens quite often. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays. So I will see you then. Bye.